The divorce papers arrived on letterhead so expensive I could practically smell the trust fund. They came from the Ashford family attorney, naturally, with a note explaining that my blue-collar background made me fundamentally incompatible with their daughter's social trajectory. 3 years of marriage reduced to a class assessment. Apparently, my father's auto repair shop disqualified me from love, although I'd taken the reins and built it into a chain of 12 locations across 3 states by my 28th birthday. But to the Ashford family, I'd always be that mechanic Alexis married during her rebellious phase. Alexis's mother, Cassandra Ashford, had orchestrated this with the precision of a military campaign. Strategic comments about my limited education at dinner parties, subtle redirections when I spoke about business at their country club gatherings, the gradual freezing out that left Alexis apologizing for my very existence. The final insult came at their anniversary party last month. Cassandra introduced me to the governor as Alexis's first husband, while I was standing right there, very much still married. When I corrected her, she smiled that porcelain smile and said, "Oh, but darling, we both know this is temporary." 2 weeks later, Alexis served me papers. I signed them without argument, which seemed to confuse their high-priced lawyer. He'd probably expected me to grovel, to beg for alimony, to make some desperate play for half of Alexis's trust fund. Instead, I thanked him and asked when the divorce would be final. 6 weeks, he said, clearly disappointed by my cooperation. Perfect. That gave me just enough time. Cassandra Ashford's pride lived in 2 places: her position as head of the city's Historic Preservation Society and her prized Arabian horses. She'd spend entire evenings describing her mare Duchess's championship bloodline, tracing ancestry back to some legendary stallion from the 1800s. The horses were her identity, her claim to sophistication, her proof that she understood quality breeding. I'd learned something interesting about quality breeding during our marriage. Cassandra's precious Duchess, the horse she'd paid $200,000 for, the one whose foal was supposed to cement her reputation in equestrian circles, well, Duchess had a secret. It took 3 weeks of careful research and one very expensive private investigator to confirm what I suspected. Duchess's papers were fraudulent, not just incorrect, completely fabricated. The mare was a quarter-horse mix from a ranch in Oklahoma, sold to a middleman who'd created an entirely fictional pedigree. Cassandra had been scammed, but more importantly, she'd been showing falsified papers at competitions for 2 years. The Equestrian Association took fraud seriously. The beauty was in the timing. I waited until the week of the annual Bluegrass Classic, where Cassandra was scheduled to show Duchess in front of the entire regional equestrian community, the same event where she planned to announce the engagement of Alexis to some banking heir she'd handpicked. I mailed the evidence to the competition organizers, including copies of the real registration papers, DNA test results, photos of Duchess's actual parents, and a detailed report on the falsification scheme. The call came Thursday morning. "Mr. James?" The voice was crisp, official. "This is Patricia Morrison from the American Equestrian Association. We've received some concerning documentation regarding a horse Cassandra Ashford owns." I'd never heard sweeter words. By Thursday afternoon, Cassandra's barns were swarming with investigators. By Friday, the story hit the equestrian publications. By Saturday morning, it was in the general press. Society Matriarch's prize horse exposed as a fraud. Their investigation revealed that Cassandra had not only been scammed, she had been so determined to appear knowledgeable that she'd never verified the papers. She'd bragged about bloodlines that didn't exist, claimed championships that were fabricated, and built her entire equestrian reputation on a lie. The Bluegrass Classic banned her for life. The Historic Preservation Society quietly asked for her resignation to avoid association with the scandal. 3 different horse magazines ran features about the fraud, using Cassandra as a cautionary tale about the importance of authentication. The real masterpiece came when the DNA results were published. Duchess was not Arabian royalty. she was actually a magnificent example of American quarter horse breeding, with working ranch bloodlines that traced back to some of the finest cattle horses in the Southwest. The irony was exquisite. Cassandra, who had spent years looking down on common bloodlines, had unknowingly owned a horse with the exact kind of working-class pedigree she despised. Duchess was everything Cassandra claimed to hate: working class, practical, unpretentious, and absolutely excellent at what she was bred to do. The investigator found one more delicious detail in his final report. The original ranch where Duchess was born, it was owned by a family named Rodriguez, who'd been raising quarter horses for 4 generations. Honest, hard-working people who bred horses for ability, not status. People exactly like me. I framed the DNA report and hung it in my office, right next to the photo of my 12th auto shop's grand opening. Every time I looked at it, I smiled, thinking about Cassandra discovering that her precious symbol of superiority had working-class roots running deeper than mine. My divorce was finalized last week. Alexis called to apologize, saying her mother had been humbled by recent events, and maybe she'd been wrong about us. But I was already dating Helene Rodriguez, the ranch owner's daughter who'd driven up from Oklahoma to collect Duchess and bring her home. Turns out we had a lot in common. We both appreciated quality, authentic bloodlines and the kind of people who weren't ashamed of honest work. I heard Cassandra's taken up gardening now, staying out of the public eye. Some people are born to greatness, others have it thrust upon them, and some discovered that their idea of greatness was worthless from the start. I prefer honest bloodlines.